Hello everybody and welcome back to Pokemon White 2. So in the last part we visited the X Team Plasma House, and within that whole process our Magnemite has evolved into Magneton, and we also got ourselves our very own Zora. And also, since now at least two of our Pokemon have now reached level 30, we can once again get ourselves the expert belt from this guy. Okay, everyone. Now that we have visited the X Team Plasma House, we can now challenge the Drifveil Gym. But however, I am not going to be doing that. Yeah, just like I've been doing within these recent gyms so far. Yeah, I am once again gonna be training up my team before I even think about challenging the gym. And thankfully, there is indeed an entire route for us to train, and that of course being Route 6. Now, structurally, within the 2 years, Route 6, is still the same as it was. Excuse me. But, however, as you can see, yeah, the first trainer that you encountered this time in Route 6 is indeed a breeder. So, if you want to travel to Route 6 from Drifveil City, then yeah, definitely keep that in mind. But anyways, anyways, everyone. Now, as for the Pokemon that you can once again find, but then as for the Pokemon that you can find here, now while we do get a few new additions where, unfortunately, at least one of them went so long. Yeah, just like I said previously, with the fact that we've now lost the cold storage, meaning that there you can no longer get Vanillite. Well, the same also goes for Route 6. Yeah, Route 6 no longer has some Vanillites. Yeah, meaning of course, you still have to wait until you eventually get at least one of those free Pokemon. Yeah. And then, previously, Tranquil was not available during the winter season. But however, within Black 2 and White 2, Tranquil is present. It shows up here within every season. Yeah. And then, just like last time, you can still find just like last time. Now you can also find Swadloons, and this is indeed where you get your first encounters with Deerling, Karrablast, and Foongus. And then as for the new additions, well, now they also brought in Meryl into the grass. Yeah, just in case if you missed out on the Zerul before. And then we also get a Pokemon that now actually shows up a lot more sooner. And that Pokemon is indeed a Shelmet. Yeah, that's right, everyone. Now you can find both Karrablast and Shelmet within the same location. But however, while both Karrablast and Shelmet can be found, in both versions. But however, their encounter rates are different depending on the version that you're playing. Now, considering that we are playing White 2 right now, means that we can fight Karrablast more. Now, the encounter rate for Karrablast is more higher, whereas in Black 2, Shelmet's encounter rates are more higher there. So yeah, I would say definitely, definitely think about which one of these two Pokemon that you actually do want to utilize. Yeah. But anyways, everyone, now as to the Pokemon that you can find in the Rustling Grass, now we once again have a route where you can find Ondinos, Leavanys, Emolgas. Yeah, and we even get the return of Dunsparce too. And then this is the first route where you can find Azumarils and Pheasants within the Rustling Grass. And then Route 6 is the first. Is actually the only like location in the entire game where she can find like Castforms. Yeah, that's everyone. Now if you saw for that trainer that we just faced off against before. Now Castforms are a part of Black 2 White 2's regional decks. But, however, Castforms, in terms of battling, yeah, while Castforms may still have the gimmick of being able to transform themselves, depending on the weather, but in terms of their battling stats, yeah, they're still not that good. So yeah, you probably are still not going to be utilizing them that much. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, everyone. Oh yeah, that's right, everyone. Now, just like last time, now some of these items that you find on the ground. Now some of them are actually fungus. So yeah. Now if you want yourself a more easier time getting yourself a fungus, yeah, then some of these items, quote unquote, yeah, are actually fungus. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Now as to the Pokemon that you can find surfing. Now we have ourselves another location where you can find Merrills and Azumarils on the water. And then as for fishing, now we also have indeed another. Yeah, this used to be the only location where you can find Politoads. But as you've been seeing previously so far, yeah, now we can find Politoads in more locations. Than just like Route 6, yeah. but anyways, everyone. Now as to the Pokemon that you can find that you can find swarming here. Now they aren't the exact same as they were before. Now within a White 2, you can find Minans. And within Black 2, you can find Plusles. And then as for the hidden grottos, and I said hidden grottos, yeah, aka plural. Yeah, it's because of this route. It's because of this route. It doesn't just have one hidden grotto. There's actually two of them. Now the first one that you guys have already seen. That's just after that breeder. And then the second one is actually right next to the entrance to like is actually right next to the entrance. It is right next to the entrance of Miss Johnson Cave. So yeah. So unfortunately, since we don't get served until later, meaning that you're not gonna be able to get there until then. Yeah. And then as for the Pokemon that you can find within these hidden grottos. Now these hidden grottos are actually another location where you can find the Dunsparce and Foongus with their hidden abilities. So yeah, for some of these for some of these hidden grottos, yeah, some of them may contain the exact same Pokemon. But however, Route 6 doesn't just have the Pokemon that you can find all already. But we've also got a new Pokemon with their hidden abilities. Okay, so first off, so first off, you can find Woobats. Now, who will have the ability Simple? Yeah. And then you can also have the opportunity for you to be able to encounter Nosepass. Nosepass. Now in Nosepass, who have the ability Sand Force? Yeah, that's right, everyone. Bull like it Y2 also has Nosepass. Also brings in Nosepass. But however, you probably don't want to bother with getting these Nosepass, within the hidden grottos. Is because, yeah, the actual location in the game where you can actually find a regular Nosepass is actually a lot more closer than you think. Yeah, and if you think about, and if you recall the areas that are next to Route 6, yeah, you may know which place it is. and also, it is indeed in the location where you can also evolve a Nosepass as well. So, yeah, going to that location is honestly going to be the much more better alternative if you want to evolve your Nosepass a lot more sooner. But anyways, anyways, everyone. Now, I think with that said, I think that is all the Pokemon that you can find within Route 6. But however, there is actually one more special Pokemon that you can actually get here. And that is actually in the building where they still do research on Deerling. Now, yes, everyone, and I guess I should probably point this out too. Just like last time, we get the building where they hold the research for Deerling, and we also get a little house where you can actually go to if you want to restore your Pokemon's health back. So yeah. And then, as for the research on Deerling, is actually different than last time. Yeah. Now you see. Now for those of you who don't recall, within the prequel titles. Now, if you were to show off one of the scientists, every single form of Deerling, then he would give you a Leaf Stone. And then, whereas in Black 2 White 2, one of the scientists will give you a really rare Deerling. Now, I am not talking about the fact that this Deerling is gonna be shiny. This Deerling that you get is actually never to be coded to be a shiny, so yeah, definitely do not get your hopes up for that. But what I mean by special is that this Deerling this Deerling will have its hidden ability his Serena Grace. So essentially, this right here essentially makes it, now that Deerling will be your most easiest Pokemon with their hidden ability to get in the entire game. So yeah, I like that. And then, now, while we may get the same building and also the same research facility, and also the little like house again, just like before, however, what's different from last time is that the entrance to Charstone Cave is no longer present. Yeah, for those of you who don't recall, during a Black and White, you could not go into Charstone Cave. It's because there would be this Electro Web, which will prevent you from being able to go in. And the only way that you could actually get rid of that Electro Web is if you actually defeat Clay first. Now, within Black 2 White 2, while the Electro Web is no longer present this time, and we can actually go inside of Charstone Cave, but however, within Charstone Cave is going to be yet another blockage. And just like last time, you're not gonna be able to get past that blockage until you have defeated Clay. So yeah, honestly, I don't get why they bothered to move the blockage when the only way that we can remove that blockage is to still defeat Clay. Yeah, honestly, I really don't get it. But however, removing that Electro Web so that we can actually get into Charstone Cave definitely makes things a lot more simpler for me. Yeah, and especially with a certain Pokemon that we currently, and especially when it comes to a certain Pokemon that we already have in our team right now. So yeah. Now, for those of you who have seen my team and knows how they evolve, definitely know which one I am talking about. And now I'm full. While I will be showing off what it's like if you actually go inside of Charstone Cave now, but however, I am not going to be showing off any sort of like data or I'm not going to show off much of anything. Yeah, I'm only going to show off only like a few bits of Charstone Cave. But I am going to show off all of the portions that you can do with it in Charstone Cave as of right now. in the next video. Yeah, honestly, it will definitely save me a whole lot of time for that. Yeah. And now, I still need to try to get myself, you know, Karrablast and Shelmet within this route anyway. So yeah, although, like I said, considering that Shelmet's encounter rate at White 2 is gonna be much lower, yeah, it's probably not gonna show up. But I guess so, we shall see. Yeah. Okay, everyone, and I think with that said, I think that is all I really have to say as of right now. Okay, everyone. Okay, well now as I'm trying to get my Karrablast and Shelmet. Excuse me again. And speaking of which, here is indeed Karrablast now. Okay, everyone. Now as I am just gonna be spending my time not only trying to find and catch both Karrablast and Shelmet, and also I'll be showing off only like at the beginning portion of Chargestone Cave, and maybe facing off against maybe like 1 or 2 trainers that I have missed out on. Now I am going to be once again going over the Pokemon anime appearances. Oh yeah, that's right. And now before I do that, I should probably mention now I should also probably mention too the music that we start listening to as soon as we actually enter Route 6. Yeah, now it is still the same as it was last time. But I still like it. Though. Yeah. Alright, here she is again. Yeah, now, as soon as you start exploring around Chargestone Cave, you will immediately encounter her Bianca again. Now she'll say that she's been doing. She'll say that she is researching something. But however, we don't exactly know what exactly she is in fact researching. Yeah, probably until we get to the much more later portion of the cave. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Now for next up on our list is. Alright, everyone. Now next up on the list is Swoobat. Now Swoobat to this day. Swoobat has yet to make Swoobat still doesn't get that many appearances in the anime. Now Swoobat has only shown up within only 5 episodes, and then there was both versions of the Victini movie. Then there was the Genesect movie. And also those 5 episodes are only in the Universe series. Swoobat has yet to make an appearance outside of the Universe anime. Honestly, at this point, Swoobat really needs to come back. Eventually, just once at least. Yeah. But honestly, at this point, who knows? Okay, everyone. Now next on my list is Magneton. Now just like from Magnemite, Now, now you are to expect to see at least one Magneton, at least once within like every series. But however, unlike Magnemite, Magneton does not show up within every series. Yeah, now the only series where Magneton does not show up one time is indeed in the G Universe series. Yeah, unfortunately, the Universe series is where Magneton does not show up once. But however, as for the other actual main series, yeah, Magneton has at least shown up at least once. Yeah, now which of course includes Horizons too. Yeah, now Horizons did show off from Magneton at least 5 times. Yeah. But anyways, everyone, and I think with that is all I'm probably gonna talk about for now. Yeah, considering that I am just about to end off this. I am just about to be ending off this video. That is until if I find another Pokemon that is either another Tranquil or another Pokemon. And it is indeed another Tranquil. Yeah, so unfortunately, we will not be getting our Shelmet today. Yeah, that is really unfortunate. But what are you gonna do? But as everyone, but that said, that should be all I'm gonna do with this part. And so we shall once again enter Charso K for the next one. And so to then, I'll see you guys next time.